What up, everybody? Welcome to Talk About It Tuesdays with Tiffany. I appreciate all those people that are tuning in on their lunch break. It's been a while, but I am Tiffany Story. I am one of the hosts of Living the Stress Life podcast. And Talk About It Tuesdays with Tiffany is really just a vlog that I like to do that just gives working professionals tips on how to manage everything related to stress, right? Stress is a regular part of our life, whether it's good or bad. And so, for me, as a licensed professional counselor, for those of you who don't know what I do, um, managing stress is something I'm constantly working with clients on. And so I appreciate any of you who are tuning in. Please share for those of you guys who are tuning in. But I want to get into today's topic. And today's topic is the mind and body connection. And the reason why I think it was important for me to kind of choose talking about the mind and body connection is, for one, I'm dealing with my own personal mind body pain right now. But two, a lot of us are coming up on the new year, starting to set goals, starting to think of what kind of changes we want to see happen in 2022. And I think it's important to realize that sometimes we're not able to achieve our personal and professional goals because either our mindset set is not in the right place, or we physically don't feel good, and it really impacts how motivated we are towards reaching those goals. So let's kind of talk about this week what the mind and body connection is, because I think a lot of people know to some extent that how they feel and how they think it really impacts the way, how they feel emotionally, and how they think really impacts the way they feel physically. But how connected really is your mind to your body? So I want to start by first like outlining what the mind and body connection is. Excuse me if you can hear my paper, but I always make notes. And so I want to make sure that I'm staying on topic, but I also want to make sure that the information I'm giving you is good content. So the mind body connection is the belief that the causes, development, and outcome of a physical illness are determined from the interaction of our psychological, social, and biological factors. So what does that mean in like layman's term? What it means is that things, the outcome of our physical health, the development of certain physical experiences is really impacted by how we feel about the people we engage with in our environment, as well as genetics. That's what that definition really means. And so I think a lot of us, when we think of the mind and body connection, we automatically just go to, okay, if we think negatively, then we feel bad, right? But really, the mind and the body are connected, so connected that if you feel good emotionally, you feel good physically as well, because there are different types of stress, and we can get into the different terms or different types of stress. But stress can be good or bad for you. So for instance, finding out that you're pregnant can be a good stressor. For some people it's a negative stressor, but finding out that you're having a baby can be a good stressor. Getting married could be both a positive and negative stressor, right? Getting a promotion and knowing that you're going to be earning more money, that can be considered a good stressor, right? But it can also bring on some negative stress. And how your body and physical health is really impacted is really determined on how you process those things. So, for instance, let's go back to a pregnancy. For a teenager finding out they're pregnant, when their parents don't know that they're even engaging in sexual interaction, news of bringing a baby into the world or bringing new life into the world can be a major stressor, right? So the fact that it causes stress could increase their blood pressure and can really impact them having a healthy pregnancy. However, if you are in a relationship or in a marriage and you're trying to conceive, right, news of a pregnancy can actually cause the body to respond in a positive way and can really lead to healthy development for the baby, because your body creates positive chemicals that tells the body this is good and we are happy. So it's important to notice that what you focus your thoughts on, what you focus your energy ultimately can have an impact on how you show up in the world. I think for me, it's really important, especially in this season, because COVID has been, a big thing. I mean, COVID's been around now since well over a year. And so I know several people who've gotten COVID, and because of all the media, because of all the news, the first thought that a lot of people have, and they're going to find themselves on their deathbed. And so that really shows you just that the environment and the information that they're taking in is having a negative impact on their mindset. And a lot of times people feel worse or would begin to feel sicker because they're so focused on a negative outcome. And so the body will follow where the mind goes. But I'm someone who's had COVID here several months ago, and I kind of just made the decision. First of all, when I found out I had COVID, um, I felt fine. I really was taking my kid to the doctor because he was demonstrating signs that he was sick. I didn't know if it was a flu or what, but I was like, you know what? Because it's COVID and I might have to go back to work and I got a sick kid, let me just get tested. And then they came and told me, hey, you do have COVID. It took about a whole 5 days before I began to feel bad. But I think the difference for me is I made up in my mind not to like take in all the information that was floating around on the news and, the constant email updates from, your local hospital. I also work in a field where I'm constantly getting emails because the client population that I serve. And so I just kind of made a choice in my mind to shut out everybody else's voice and just kind of say, okay, what do I need to make sure that I'm in a good headspace so that I can come through this without feeling um, very, very bad. And so I ultimately just kind of decided, hold on, guys, I'm going to turn down my work computer if I can. Here we go. So I ultimately just kind of decided to focus on prioritizing my health. Um, but if you make it a point to just focus on the negative things, then your body will follow. And so for those people that I know just focused on, the fact that you have difficulty breathing or that your body hurts, they begin to experience symptoms much sooner. I even know a few people who were related to, close family friends that said, hey, my family member ended up in the hospital because they were so frantic about the fact that they had COVID and were so stressed out about the thought of dying that they actually was not taking in food. They were not taking in, liquid, and they became extremely dehydrated and ended up making themselves worse because they were so afraid of dying that they were pushing their body in that direction. And so what's important to realize that the main impact from your thoughts is that your body produces chemicals that is designed to improve your health, right? But your body can also produce chemicals that work against your physical well-being if you are in a bad mental space. So if you're happy or if you're focusing on something positive, your body's going to produce dopamine. It's going to produce good endorphins. It's going to produce serotonin, and those specific chemicals are the pleasure chemicals, and it tells your body and it tells your brain, hey, we're happy, we enjoy this is good for us. And so you begin to feel joy, you begin to feel peace, you feel physically better. But when you choose to focus on negative, your body will produce a chemical, like, oh, I should have wrote this chemical down. Can't think of the chemical right now, but it's also what produces belly fat. Cortisol. Your body increases cortisol, and what cortisol is a chemical that tells the body that it's under some type of stress or duress. Now, in certain situations, cortisol and adrenaline can be really good for the body, like when you're competing in some type of physical sport, or you're in crisis, right? The a rush of adrenaline and a rush of cortisol can really give the body an extra boost of strength. But when you have high amounts and consistent amounts of cortisol and adrenaline, the body is constantly staying in a state of crisis. And so when that happens, the body is designed that when you encounter danger, whether danger is perceived or real, that portions of your brain actually stop working. And so you're not functioning at optimal capacity. And over a long term or a period of time, that really begins to affect your physical health, especially your heart, especially your nervous system. It impacts sleeping, it impacts appetite. And so, it's really important for us as we go into this next season, especially since we're still dealing with COVID. For those of you guys who are working professionals, who are parents, as you start planning your resolutions or your New Year goals, to really think about how your mind and body is connected, and recognizing if you have physical health goals, if you're, you know, focusing on losing weight, right? You really have to focus on your mindset, because maintaining healthy eating habits is really important, that you focus on how you're thinking, focusing on how you're sleeping. And if you're not motivated, if every time you get ready to, you know, fix something healthy or eat something healthy, you're telling yourself you're not going to enjoy it, guess what? You're not going to enjoy it, right? So it's important as we set goals that we realize where we focus our energy is going to determine our outcome. So I'm going to leave y'all with 3 tips. It's not going to be long and drawn out. The first tip is, in order to improve your mind and body connection, improve your mental and emotional wellness, you need to practice stress management techniques. And that could be several different things. If you enjoy reading or journaling, you can do that. If you enjoy creative outlets like art or dance or pottery, you can do something of that nature. Volunteering or helping people, going to church, participating in church activities, that's helpful. And walking and meditating, practicing mindfulness, all of those things are things you can incorporate into your daily or weekly lifestyle to make sure that you're maintaining a healthy perspective, a healthy mindset. One of the things I also encourage you to do is take time through every day, especially either at the start of your day, in the middle of your day, or at the end of your day, to calm your body and your mind. I have a client the other day that called me and was irate about the way someone said something to them. And they were talking about, they're kind of flying off the handle. And I asked them what was so upsetting for them about what the person said. And she said it wasn't so much what she said, it was how she said it. And as she begins to explain to me what was triggering about the situation, I said to her, I said, now, it's so interesting how in this moment you can tell me and communicate with me clearly why you were triggered and what was so upsetting, but in that moment you couldn't do that. And so we just began to talk about her history with trauma and her history with, growing up with crisis, different crisis situations. And I explained to her, like, your knee jerk response is that you're in danger, whether that danger is an emotional danger or physical danger. And so, what changes are you noticing in your body? You got to start talking to your body. And so, one of the best ways to really get your body under control is focusing on your breathing, taking deep breaths, clearing your mind, and clearing your heart rate. Excuse me, guys. And so, we just kind of talked through what that looked like. So if you focus on your breathing slows down your heart rate, right? And so if you're in a state of crisis, which is that fight or flight state where your body's producing these extra chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline and telling you, hey, we got to be ready for whatever goes down. The moment you actually start taking deep breaths and slowing your heart rate down, that portion of your brain that's shut off when those chemicals start increasing, right? That part of your brain comes back online, and you're able to actually process information, because when you're in danger, your body shuts down certain processes mentally and in other parts of your body internally, because it doesn't need those things. It needs to focus all this energy on your heart and blood pumping and oxygen pumping so that you can avoid danger or avoid harm, right? But the moment you take control of your breathing and take control of um, your heart rate, your mind comes back online. So that's another tip, is learning to calm your body and your mind. And the more you practice that, the more innate it will become, the more natural it will become. But the other one is just building resilience, right? And that is in your mind, and developing coping skills. And those coping skills or stress management techniques is going to build your resilience, your ability to be able to bounce back, your ability to be able to overcome different stressors. And so, I want to encourage you guys as you make your vision boards, which I'm super excited about making my vision board. I do a vision board at the start of every year. As you begin to plan those resolutions and make those or establish those professional and personal goals, just think about how you're going to get your mindset to be where it needs to be so that you're actually able to be successful, so that you feel motivated, because whatever your mind believes, your body achieves. And that's important to remember. So, that's all for me, guys. I appreciate you guys who are tuning in. And so, until next time, live your best life, living through your stress life. Holla.